Welcome to The Bank is Open, presented by Pickett Sports, presented by Props.Cash, breaking down Thursday Night Football. We'll run through the NBA card. Brad Thomas will join us in a little bit, but before that, we got the usual cast of characters. It is Matt Mcafee, Brian versus the Books. Brian, Matt, what's going on, guys?
I'll let you take this one, Matt. You go first.
Yeah, pretty good, man. Got a small slate, but a good slate. And even the football game, while it might not be fireworks, it's a division game that matters a lot. So hopefully we get a good competitive game here in prime time, which sometimes it doesn't happen for us. So yeah, I'm excited. I think there is value on the board. What we got, 4 games in the association, or 5? No, it is
It's four. It's
it is
four.
4. Okay. So yeah, I've already got a few spots I've identified, waiting on the Heat injury news, like always, and I'll turn it over to Brian for his thoughts.
No, yeah, I think it should be good. I think I actually do think that whether or not it works well in the betting realm, I do think the Thursday night football game should be a good game. Like you mentioned, it does matter, which is all you can ask for, especially with the Seahawks, who we all kind of thought would be at 2 wins right now. So I think that should be a good game. And
Right.
I do like the NBA slate. I do think it's one I'm going to watch more than bet because, as I'm sure Will has heard me say multiple times, I don't recognize the Heat or the Clippers as NBA teams anymore, just because I can't deal with their injury report. So I don't bet on anything they do because by the time I understand what's happening, I'm already 2 moves behind. So we'll see what I end up touching in the late game if I do.
Before we get to the games today, I'm going to run a bet by you, and you guys can either give me the thumbs up or thumbs down. And this is my guys at VSiN were talking about this morning, Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin, and I drove to the sports book to bet this at 200-1. I get there, it's 150-1. So I still threw a few bucks on it, but the Orlando Magic to win the division. You look at the Heat, they're a mess. The Hawks are a mess. The Hornets might be tanking. Orlando's only 5 games out. They've played better here at 200-1, 150-1. Again, shop around. It's still, it's a fat number, but every price matters. Is it worth $10? Is it worth a coffee bet, or did I just donate my money, or a little bit of both?
I like that because I watched the Magic yesterday because I had action on their on player props, and I'll say this: they got big early, really big early, and they kind of let the Hawks get back into it a little bit,
Typical
which
NBA.
is understandably. But the announcers and I think like I agreed with the announcers saying that it does suck that they let them get that. I think they got it within 10 at one point. I think it was within 9 at one point. But they never really made it a 2-possession game, which is saying a lot for a team like the Hawks that can get going when they get hot, because I think Hunter scored 22 points in a quarter. So I think it's big to see a younger team hold on to that lead even when they make that push. Because sometimes teams make that push and the younger teams crumble. They were able to, keep it their distance and play when they need to.
You're talking about the Magic to win the Southeast Division, right?
It is the Southeast Division, and most people
180 to
listening,
1
even
on FanDuel,
180-1 on FanDuel. To me, it's not
Well,
worth a bad bet. I guess it was 600-1 a couple days ago. Some people got 600-1. So hey,
Yeah.
if nothing else, it's a little entertainment value. You just sit there and root for the Magic. Not that they're going to win, but hey, these other teams collapse. Who knows, Matt? It's a dumb bet.
I mean, a realistic bet would be to play their season win total over 25.5 games. Like, just put a real bet on that and maybe win that bet versus, this extreme lotto, and you're hoping all these different teams like continue to die around. I mean, I guess, yeah, like you said, $10. Like, we've all spent $10 on worse. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to dig. I know I have, but I'd be like, this Magic ticket, like, I mean, it could be fun, and you might be able to leverage it, to make some profit later. But yeah, I mean, season win total, 25.5. So just go ahead and play that and make a real bet on it if you like their, prospects going forward here. I do think there'll be sellers come trade deadline. Somebody's going to come in and try to get some of these guys. Obviously there's a few untouchables, but they've got a lot of bigs. Somebody may want to come get Wendell Carter out of there. They may be. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's the craziest part. They've been without Wendell Carter, who I think was a big piece to that team, but they've been playing well.
They've lost
a
lot of close games too. I remember because I do have the season win total over from the beginning of the season, so been following pretty closely.
What was the original total? If you know,
26
What
and a
was it?
half,
Sorry,
something like that.
26 and a half? Okay.
Yeah, so they're pretty much on pace, even though
Mhm.
they've won 4 in a row here. They had just some really bad losses, like some really close losses. But
The
let's just look at the
injury luck
division.
has gone against them too. Like they
Yes.
Ross missed a lot, Suggs missed a
Yep.
lot, and I mean to start the season they didn't have a single guard on the team. It felt like for about 10 days that was healthy. Yeah,
But they have Bull, and it's all you need.
yeah.
That's all you need. He's
They are
probably a
big.
top.
Wagner,
He's
Bol,
a
and
top
I
two,
how
top two
about
player in the league. He's not. He's not two.
he's not too. Shea is probably going to win most improved player. Is Bol? I mean, I know we're doing a lot of Orlando Magic content, but just scrolling through these odds, Bol, you get him like 25-1 most improved player. Is that worth a shot or no? Before we get to the games here,
I just don't know if Bobo will ever get any publicity.
he's
Like,
getting it right now. You know how many people watch this show? Are you kidding me?
yeah, right. I know we're talking about it, and the rating people are probably tuning out right now.
I mean,
like,
I'm telling you, there's 3 people right now watching it plus Eli. That's 4 because
like, I didn't think
he
I'd
gets
get
paid to
that.
sit here and watch it. So that's 4 people right now that are talking all about Bull.
Yeah, it's to me like I handicap all these awards based on who's Sports Center going to show their highlights. Is First Take going to talk about them? NBA Today going to talk about them? Like they're just not going to spend time talking about these guys. They are going to spend time talking about SGA. They're going to talk about marketing to a lesser extent. Like and
He kind of stole the bag a little bit. He
yeah,
started off really hot.
exactly. And I mean, everybody knows that I've got this LaMelo Ball like before his second injury, like at 490-1 to win the award. I want a guy that's flashy, that's going to lead the highlight reel, that's going to be on top 10 lists and do make a viral tweet because he does a behind the back cross court pass. Like, give me guys like that. Bobo is he's kind of. I mean, he's lanky and that looks kind of fun when he does cool stuff, but like,
Yes.
it's just, I don't think he's more of a meme than an actual viable bet, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
I will say I think SGA at this point he would have to average -4 points a game the rest of the way for him to not because like I mean Maxey was in the running and then he got hurt and then now it's kind of like Ja last year where a lot of people didn't think Morant should win. But once you get on that track, it's hard to get off it. And he's already on that, how many game winners do you have? Like, I think 3 or 4 this year. I want to say it's at least 3 game winning shots. He's just been all over the national media.
Yep. And
What brought him to mind. No, I was just gonna say what brought him to mind is like McAfee's point. You need the national spotlight. I was actually listening to Zach Lowe's podcast, which is probably the most popular NBA podcast, and they were talking about the awards. And Zach said, "I haven't looked at the voting or anything, but top of my head, my guess is Bol's the favorite." And that triggered something in me. We're like, "Hey, the fact that they think he's the favorite, maybe that tips off something into the voters' minds here. Where as much as you're handicapping anything, like you said, McAfee, you're handicapping the voters. So just something to keep an eye on."
I mean, people are tuning into Magic games and they're looking to watch Banchero. So like Bol has to outperform Banchero, who's
Speak for yourself. I'm a big Bull fan.
But your national media anyway, their eyes are on Banchero and they're watching his stat lines. And so are the Magic going to win 2 postseason player awards and
Good
win
point.
27 games this year? Like,
good point.
And the same thing. SGA is the same thing. They in the West, they're probably not even going to make the play-in game once they pull the plug on everything.
Yep.
Like, so is a guy who scores 30 points for a team that wins 30 games going to matter? Are people going to be like, yes, this was, or is this guy just, everybody else just gets out of the way and lets him go, run the rim constantly? Like, I would argue like SGA as impressive as he's been, there's a ton of guys that if given his usage on that bad team, they would be putting up pretty similar numbers. Like
the chat.
And just to give the odds,
agree.
just to correct myself, Bol is 36-1 at FanDuel. So again, it's a lottery ticket. Alexander's the favorite, -135. Halliburton +440. Markkanen +700. Then Simon's 36-1. Bol 36-1.
I like Simons. Like you mentioned,
Simons
him.
isn't a bad one.
I think he's a viable candidate. The problem is, Portland, again, you run into like, okay, Dame's the star of the team. Dame's going to take the last minute shots. And even when Dame's missed some time because he is getting up there now and they're going to kind of rest him when they can. His numbers are great. Like, they're sneaky, really, really good. But again, it's just national audience. Like, are people staying up late to watch, Portland versus Sacramento, Portland versus the Spurs? It's tough. Like, if anybody's staying up late, they're going to be watching the Laker or the Clipper game.
Because the Lakers are playing so well now.
Right. I mean, as bad as the Lakers, are, like, they can get up. They played that game against the Celtics, like playoff game, and they're entertaining
too.
You see their ceiling. Like, if they can get a couple, like a shooter or two, they're a good team. Like, when in a playoff scenario. So, I like the chances of Simons. Like, again, it's about these spots. Like, are they going to have enough, nationally televised games to get the kind of non-hardcore audience behind them? And that's just my worry is with SGA right now. If you have a preseason, congratulations. A 4-1, 5-1, a week or two into the season. But preseason, he was 20, 25-1 could be had for this market.
Wow.
Now you can't buy it at -165. You just gotta just sit back and say, hey, I missed this market. And then the Thunder might turn around and say, hey, we're going to shut him down come February. And then we see how these awards, just the ebbs and flows of the week to week conversation. Somebody's going to get hot, and somebody's going to just shoot up the board here.
Scotty Barnes last year. Remember, it was Mobley. It was Mobley's rookie of the year.
Yeah, the chat we have here seem to agree with SGA. Some people believe that Bull should win MVP. It's a pretty mixed. It's a pretty mixed bag of nuts. But if you guys are ready, I think we should move on to the games here and kind of discuss the small but kind of interesting, like I said, kind of interesting board. Will, what game would you want to start off with?
Grizzlies Bucks, probably the game of the night here. You can take it, Brian. Grizzlies laying 2.5, total 226.5.
So this is a game where I actually, surprisingly enough, I took a player prop under. But overall, this is going to be a great game. Yeah, no, I will say people hate the unders, but they're profitable. I will say my favorite thing with the NBA is that you bet unders and people are like, oh, this guy. And then like the same people are like, I can't believe I lost this over when a guy had 20 points at half and he only scored 3 the rest of the way. And it's like, oh, it's a funny realm to be in.
The ejections, the joke flagrant twos we've seen,
there's too many outs.
There's too many outs. A lot of outs. An ankle gets rolled, a flagrant two, anything. It's like you said, you have multiple outs with the under, but people they hate it. It's just it's a unfun sweat rooting against them.
Yes, because I've been there. You have an under and he's just pouring in threes, and you're counting. You're like, man, I guess he could go the next 24 minutes without scoring a point, and it's a bad feeling. But that's what.
And they always wait until the 23rd minute. Yeah, that's how it works. But I will say,
blowouts are another thing that game script can also go against you at an under.
Yeah. So what do you got, Brian?
Yep. So in this game I have on the screen there, I actually took an alt same game parlay. It's +110 on DraftKings. It is Brook Lopez under 14.5 points paired with his under 6.5 rebounds. This is one where I'm kind of, I've been trying to buy higher lines, not necessarily like the alt same game parlay, just in general. Brook Lopez went from, a 3 or 4 rebound per game guy to the last 10 games. He's actually getting up there a little bit with his rebounding. But if you look at the games he had good rebounding games against, it was the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, and the Charlotte Hornets. And if you guys follow NBA for more than 12 minutes, you would see that these are not good rebounding teams. So I'm trying to buy this spot here where he gets the Grizzlies, who have the fast pace as those teams I mentioned, but with Adams being back, Jaren Jackson's being at full strength, this is just a much better rebounding team that despite the higher pace, I think asking 7 rebounds is a little too much. And in terms of points, he's under 14.5 points in 8 of his last 10. Middleton's back, which kind of takes him a little bit away from that. He hasn't scored 10 points in the last 3 games. And in this matchup, I don't see too many inside buckets for him in this, interior defense. I think they're going to try to get him hot, not necessarily hot, but just kind of spread him out a little bit, try to pull Adams away from that rim, try to neutralize Adams. And I think his main role today is going to be, trying to pull him out. Sure, if you like his threes, I think he can hit 2 threes. I think 2 threes is actually a decent bet, but 2 threes is 6 points, and I don't see him finding 9 other points in that realm. And this is a small sample size, which I like to identify, but I mean, because mostly small sample size, because Middleton's only been in for so long. But in the 26 minutes he's had with Middleton in and Holiday out, he's actually only averaging 6 points and 6 rebounds in the per 36. Like I said, super small sample size, but without Drew in and Middleton actually running a lot more of the point area, he's just kind of become that non-existent player in the offense in terms of his usage rate.
Yeah, for this game, I mean, I would lean for the side, taking the Grizz at home here. I think this is a game that they will really get up for and the crowd will be into. I like John Morant's points, 27 and a half. Seems a little high, but I think, gosh, he hit it last season against them. He got 33. The Bucks, while they're good at protecting the paint, they lose their best perimeter defender. We talked about Holiday being out already. I think if the drop down from Holiday to Carter or Allen or whoever is going to draw Ja is pretty significant. So I like him to clear his points. I think without having Desmond Bane out there too, I think it will just mean more shots because Jaren Jackson, I think, can get in some foul trouble tonight. He'll probably draw Giannis. And
he never does that. No.
Never. Right. We might see, Triple J with 2 fouls in the first, 3 minutes of the game, which just, to me, I don't know. It's tough. Like, that's why I feel like Morant is going to be the guy tonight. He knows a lot of eyes will be on this game. Big marquee matchup against Giannis. So, I like it with Holiday out of the lineup. I think he can get there.
No, I agree. I like that. I do think
Rockets.
this is
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say my last comment was gonna be, despite being underdogs, I think this is the Bucks game to lose. I think they have the tools to win this game, but it really just comes down to how it matches up. Despite them being underdogs, I would lean them in this game, but yeah, I just didn't feel any value in either side. But I wanted to mention that Ryan Props is watching and in the chat, so you gotta have our best content here for Ryan.
All right, and we'll try to do that here with the Heat and the Rockets. Not a game I have a whole lot of interest in, especially with a football game on. Heat are laying 3.5 in Houston. Total 218. Matt, anything for you on this one?
You said the Rockets and Heat, right?
Rockets and the Heat.
Yeah. I am on Alperin to go over his points plus rebounds. It's at 20.5. I've read a lot of stuff that Bam said he was going to be out with his ankle. So with Dedmon already out and Yurt already out, really, really depletes the depth of bigs on this Heat team. Jimmy's going to be focused out on the perimeters, trying to slow down Porter and Green and those guys. So I think he can eat down low. He can clean the glass pretty good. I think he had 26 against Phoenix in his last game. He went over this total in the matchup as a rookie last year against the Heat with a healthy Bam. So we're taking Bam out of the team. I think he can clear this pretty comfortably. Nothing on the Sider total, though. Sorry.
I will say Sider total. Well, I'm not sure about you. Despite the Bam injury news and everything going on, is it? I don't like these word trappy, but what are your thoughts on the Heat in this one? They're laying 3 even on some books, and even without Bam, I mean, the Rockets are really good at home. They play up at home. They're playing great basketball as of late. But do you think there's a point where they, is it a pipe dream or are they just playing that good at basketball right now?
In terms of Miami or Houston, what do you mean?
I'm talking about Houston. I'm saying Houston's like they beat the Sixers, they beat the Suns. They're playing a little bit better.
I think they have a lot of young
overall.
talent. I think they have a lot of good young talent. I mean, they're not a year away, but probably 2 years away from, competing in the West to even a playoff spot. But I like the talent they have. I'm not sure about Jabari Smith long term. I was really surprised watching him and watching Banchero, how it was ever a debate for number one. It's hard to really imagine that. But I like Sengun. I like some of the, Tari Easton. I like some of the young guys they have.
Yeah, I think with Smith is not like, and I don't want to sound like too hypercritical, but like Banchero he's an alpha. Give me the ball. I'm attacking you. And I'll watch these Rockets games and Smith will stand in the corner as passive as possible, maybe raise his hand while like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter are ISOing at the top and like doing their thing. Like there's so many possessions where he is just not involved. And like I was on his points in the previous game against Phoenix, over 13.5. He had 12 at halftime and it was perfect from the floor. he didn't get a shot until the fourth quarter, and it was
Finished
a shot
with 14, right?
Yeah, he finished with 14. He misses his one field goal attempt, and it's like a putback type of layup near the rim. And luckily, it went over. It went one of miracle covers because Chris Paul takes a foul at the end. He secures a rebound, and the game's over. But Paul fouls him, and
Chris Paul loves punching guys, dude. You gotta love it. He loves just to like give one. I don't know what it is.
He goes down there. These free throws have no impact on the game. I'm sweating him like it's game 6 of the finals. Like, and sure enough, he makes 2, and I get my 14 after literally 4 for 4.
Wow.
12 points at halftime. Doesn't attempt a field goal. Like,
this is the life we live. The
right.
Life we
that's where that's where the announcers do one of those things where they get really close to the mic and they're just, and this matters to some people out there, but like they don't say anything, and then everyone's like they know what they mean. Yeah, I agree. I do actually like Smith. He's been playing better. The entire Rockets team does play better at home. I think the biggest thing with Smith in that team is that, I mean, if you watch Jalen Green, talk about alpha, that guy, he hates passing the ball if he doesn't have to. Like he does, he has good assist numbers here and there. Like he does his thing, but him and Porter at times, I like Porter a lot. Like I think I like Porter more as a player. I think Porter kind of understands the idea of basketball a little bit, and I think Jalen Green something. He just chucks sometimes. I've seen him take really bad shots that you just shouldn't have to ever take unless there's 0 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing.
100%, man. I've seen it a lot where it's 8 seconds left in the shot clock and he's taking an off-balance contested 3, and you're just like, what are you doing, man? But go ahead, Eli. Sorry.
Jabari, somebody noted in chat, and I just double-checked on Underdog. Jabari Smith Jr. is a game-time decision with an illness tonight. He goes to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, which only helps Sengun. It only helps him if he doesn't go.
Get him out of there. Get Bam out of there. Just clear the whole paint.
Very unusual for an NBA game to have a game-time decision. We're not used to
that. Yeah, I would. Someone in the chat asked for Rockets or Heat money line. I will say this is a tough game in terms of how hot the Rockets have been playing, but I do think that if you're going to take a money line, I think the values in the Rockets, if you're looking at like the Heat, what are they, minus 165?
Yeah.
I mean, if you like the -3, ride with the Heat. But I mean, if you're looking for value in a play, the Rockets are close enough in terms of how they've been playing for the value there.
Yeah, I mean,
plus these games are so up and down. You could probably get a point where the Rockets have a 5 or 7 point lead. You want to buy back on Miami on a plus money line or a points and try to get a middle. That could be a way to play it too.
I think you're right. And even if Smith is out, I know they're already missing Tate, but like you look over, let's look at Miami's side. Okay, Bam is probably going to miss the game. Deadman's out.
There's 12 guys on the injury report. 12.
Out. Yeah, Gabe Vincent's out. Like, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So like, you're going to have to, even if Jimmy has a big game, like, which I could see Jimmy having a nice game tonight, 25, maybe even like 8 and 8 type of a thing. Like he takes this game over and they win. Like you're going to need 25 probably from Hero and then, or Strus, one of the two. Like, and I don't see enough points unless they turn it into like the Clippers game last night where it was 1990s style.
But I think last night was a perfect example of the polarizing of the sport we love, NBA. Because some games, did the Nuggets score 170? Was it 170, 150? It was a lot.
I know the Nuggets and the Wizards were, I think it was in the 140s to the 130s.
And it's just so funny. I think that you have the polarizing sport because some teams had like 150 points and then some had 6.5.
All right, Mr. Brad Thomas is joining us. I don't know if we've got him. Brad, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, Brad.
What's up, y'all?
Brad,
what's up, man? We got 2 more NBA games to get to. Should we just go through those quickly, then get to the NFL?
Yeah, before we do that, though, right away, like life on the line. Who wins tonight, the Heat or the Rockets? The chat wants to know.
Oh my God! But the Heat having 10 million people game time
it's 12.
decision.
It's 12 of their 15. It's fine.
I'm going with Rockets. The Rockets are on fire right now. I do have an NBA play. I don't know what games we've covered yet.
Fire it. Go for it.
Yeah.
All right,
whatever game it is, we'll work off it.
Yeah, this is probably one of the craziest plays that I've made, but I took Drew Holiday 25 points, 25 plus points at plus 375. Tough matchup with Dylan Brooks, but Drew Holiday.
Cast it already, man, because it's going to void. He's out.
Chris Middleton's out?
Oh, you said Holiday. Sorry.
No, my bad. Chris
You're
Middleton, 25 plus points. Drew Holiday out. tough matchup with Dylan Brooks, but I'm already on Jaren Jackson, to give Giannis a bunch of trouble. Seems like it's a high-scoring game, 226 points. Someone's got to step up. I'm not thinking it's Grayson Allen. So it's a pretty good shot at plus.
Do you think it's Brook
375.
Lopez?
No, I don't think it's Brook Lopez. You're on his
under,
right?
I'm on Brook Lopez's under, so I would love a Chris Middleton game.
Yeah, it's a Chris Middleton game. I'm also on Jaren Jackson blocks, but I parlayed it with some NHL from Griffey. So I think that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, it should be a good time. No, I like that we're on the same page there because I'm fading Brook Lopez in this one. And I do think if anyone's going to kind of step up, I mean, Giannis is going to get his 25 points or whatever he gets, no matter, even on an off day. But yeah, I do like Middleton in this spot.
Yeah,
all right,
for sure.
Moving on here. Pelicans, Jazz. This is one that burned me the other night. We said Matkafee. It looked like a trap. It sure was. Although, hey, Pelicans just missed a million threes. And sometimes that's just what these NBA comes down to when you're betting the sides. If you get outshot like that from three, you're going to lose. And they are in Utah again. Same line as the other night, pretty much. Pelicans laying 1 in Utah. I would look for New Orleans. This is one I kind of have an opinion on. I would look for New Orleans to bounce back. They're acclimated. They've been in Utah. They don't have the travel concern. They've had a day off after a bad performance. So Pelicans have played well for the most part. I would lay the point or the minus 118 money line. Brad, any thoughts on this game?
No, I was gonna like what I did in the last Pelicans game where I took Zion 25 plus. I'm probably gonna do the same thing with him again. I just got to find a dancing partner.
Matt, anything for you?
Yeah, I'm on Vanderbilt rebounds. It was at 7.5. I don't know if it's still there. I'm sure it is on some books. So he had 20 opportunities and converted 14 of them in that last game. 8 on the offensive glass. So he cleared this 7.5 just in offensive rebounds last time. And now I'm assuming the Pelicans won't shoot it quite as bad. He may not have 20 rebound opportunities this time. But he grabbed, 14 and played about 5 minutes less than his season average. So let's assume they don't blow him out tonight and it's a competitive game and he gets his 28, 29 minutes a game gameplay tonight. I think he can clear 7.5. I think his shout out to Nick, who can't be here tonight, but he's piggybacking that and he's laddering him up to the 14, which is the highest available line I think that FanDuel is offering. It's a potential good spot for it. These other guys, they're going to need to be. Marketing, his is 7.5 too. He cleared his pretty easy too. Olynyk's going to be out on the perimeter, so I like these two guys to both clear their 7.5. But I thought more value was on Vanderbilt tonight.
Yeah, someone in the chat said that Markkanen rebounds is a play. I know Ryan props his play of the day that. It banks us 10 Go Boys subscription if it hits because Props.Cash was in the Twitch earlier saying they give us subs if CJ McCollum scores 19 more points. So if you trust Ryan Props, that's his legacy play. His life's on the line basically. He's got the subs on it. He's got the reputation. Everything's on it. And then I know he's on Markkanen as this so. I think this should be a good game. Hopefully, it's a little closer than last game.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. Like because I think Valanciunas, if it just about how they decide to deploy him in his minutes, because if he goes in there, like they've got to put in Kessler to try to deal with his size.
He gets 4 minutes a game.
Yeah,
Jonas Valanciunas at the point he gets 4 minutes to decide if he's good or not that day, and he's either playing 13 minutes or like 26. Like it's seriously, he gets like that first quarter to see if he's gonna be there or not, and then they are totally okay playing him off the court. And he's got the Atlanta Clinic tonight. The Atlanta Clinic. That's my guy.
Yeah, and Kelly Oak. You would think you could pull him out and stuff, and they might be able to run a lot of high screens and things like that, and try to pull him away. But it's weird. I thought similar kind of thing with like Nurk and the Spurs last night, and Nurk plays 30 minutes when he had never, cleared all the games last season. Chauncey didn't play him over like 23, and he gives him 30 last night, and he's just killing it. And that's with the Spurs having no healthy centers. So like it's a kind of a weird chess match of like guessing the big man's minutes. Because I'm banking on him getting played off the court, like Brian said.
Final NBA game before we get to the NFL. This is The Bank is Open, presented by Props.cash, Picket Stores, both essential tools to help you win. So Props.cash, Picket Sports, shout out to both of them. The Suns laying 5.5 against the Clippers. This game is in LA. Why are they laying 5.5? Well, the Clippers are just deciding to not participate in the NBA again, which is sort of been their MO basically since they got Kawhi 3 or 4 years ago. So Suns laying 5.5. Look, I don't like throwing money lines in parlays here, especially in the NBA, but you want to throw the Suns in some parlay with some NFL favorites, some college football favorite. I'd have a hard time seeing a depleted Clippers team beating a Suns team that, look, they need to win the game. Now, this is 5 losses in a row. The Suns have played terribly, so would expect the Suns to bounce back. Matkafee, you want to start us off here, Suns and the Clips?
Oh, we got another Chris Paul revenge game here.
Yes.
Like, on the slate every night.
The tour.
Right, yeah. But, man, Devin Booker being back is huge, obviously. If he can come right back to it. Hamstrings are tough. I don't like messing with guys with hamstrings in the NBA because it just takes one play, like one tweak, and they're coming out of there. It's a total stay away for me on the side or total. Because who knows? Maybe we get John Wall rolling back the clock tonight. He'll love to play Chris Paul here. I think he will eat Chris Paul up. So his points, I think, are a good look. Kennard would shoot some threes because maybe
he's
not.
He's also questionable too. Kennard's questionable.
Well, yeah, Kennard might not play. You never know. So
it's crazy.
You would think Bridges will guard Morris probably. Morris could have a big night if he doesn't see Bridges. He might be a look. That one prop where you'd like say the highest scorer of the game. Marcus Morris might be a sneaky play. Obviously Booker will be the big favorite, but if something happens with his hamstring, I think I can see Morris having he could win that with like 24 points tonight.
If you're looking for value, look for Brian Moran to be a top point scorer, because after the show, I'm taking a flight to LA to see if I can play for the Clippers tonight. They might need some help from a 5'10" random guy off the street. I don't know.
Plus, you get to see Ayton up and close. You can,
yeah, because I'll be riding the bench as well. So because he's hurt tonight, he's out tonight as well. So it'd be fun to see. But yeah, no, like we were talking about, this is just a game where you don't know who's in. The Suns need a win, but they're missing some guys as well. It's just one of those games where, I mean, depending how the night goes, I'll see if I even touch it. But yeah, this is just it's a late 10:30 game, and it might be one I'm okay going to bed early on.
All right, Brad, anything for you before we get to the NFL?
No, like I was looking at Devin Booker points and rebounds, 32.5, the over. But like, again, like I'm afraid of the blowout factor, afraid of him coming off the injury factor. There's just too much for me, like too many question marks. Like kind of like what Brian said, if I'm like up and I hit this Chris Middleton bet, like I'm probably going to play it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where my thing with Devin Booker as well is I come from experience as a guy with a lingering hamstring injury. So but never at the pro sport level. And I know that like the littlest things can kind of just make you be like, oh damn it. Like that's, one of those things that it's just one of those things I've seen Devin Booker before just come up lame on a layup, and then you never know what's going to happen with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can get to the game of the night, the one most of us will be watching. That is the NFL game. Fun game, 49ers. The 3.5s have popped back up, at least at FanDuel. You gotta lay minus 122 if you're going to take the 3.5. So 3.5 is even money on San Francisco side. Total 43.5. I want to fade Brock Purdy on the road. His first road start. He's beat up. No Debo. I just don't know. This Seattle run defense is so bad. They've basically given up 700 rushing yards in the past 3 games, between the Raiders going for 280 at 7 a carry. Even the Rams went for 170 at 7 a carry. I think it was 5 a carry for the Rams. And then Carolina ran it 40-something times for 200-something yards last week. Maybe Seattle at home. They need the game. Prime time. Maybe the run defense gets a little bit of a bump. But to me, I would look towards the under, if anything. It's a fascinating game. Probably a pass for me on the side. Brad, you want to start us off here? Niners, Seahawks, just in terms of the side before we get to the props.
Yeah.
Who wins and what you got?
Yeah. So, every part of me wants to fade Brock Purdy. First road start, short week, but the Tampa Bay Bucks literally gave them a bye week last week. Yeah. You saw Christian McCaffrey pretty much, for anybody who was on his 14.5 carries, sorry, he got screwed because he ended with 14. He came out of the game early. They were able to get a lot of rest for a lot of their defensive players. It's hard for me to want to lay 3.5. especially in prime time. But I think this is one of those situations where I'm not going to do it. But if you were to say you want to take San Francisco, go ahead. Kenneth Walker coming off an injury. We can't say how long he's going to play. They can't stop the run. And this is one of the best defensive lines. And the problem, what we've noticed with the San Francisco team, right? Like, is when they're playing against teams who need to cover these small spreads, is they get behind and then they get in these passing situations, and then that defensive line just pins their ears back, and it's kind of like a no man's land. So I did take San Francisco in a parlay with some soccer today. That's just straight up. But yeah, I think San Francisco. The total for me is a no-go because just like that Bucks game, there's so many short drives that happen when you're playing elite defense. It just kind of gives you short fields and easy opportunities to score points.
Matt, you can go, and I should throw in Gino. I think he was limited in practice, and he had a sleeve on his shoulder on his arm last week. So his first kind of bad performance where he threw a couple of picks last week. So Matt, what do you got here? Niners and the Seahawks, just the side in total for now.
Okay, side and total for now. DraftKings is down to 3 for San Francisco, so I'll take that.
Okay.
Same reason Brad said, defense. The Seattle offensive line is banged up. Walker is banged up. Gino's banged up, and this Niners defense is going to eat. If Tom Brady and co couldn't do anything, Gino, that gives me no confidence that Geno Smith and co are going to do anything. Pete Carroll's conservative anyway. What's he going to do? Open things up, start, go 3-4 wide and try to throw over the top of this team? Nah. So I do like the under. I know I don't want to steal your play here, but I think the Niners can win this thing in a pretty low scoring game. Kind of keep Purdy out of harm's way, lean on the run, small slants and check downs and things like screen passes to keep the thing moving. Niners win 20-13 type of a game.
Can see it.
Yep.
I honestly, this is one of those games where I believe the Niners are allowing 15.2 points per game. And it's just one of those things where their defense has been so elite. And when I was trying to cap this game, my first question was, is the Seattle Seahawks offense that good to overpower that? And I just couldn't come up with many answers. Obviously, a lucky bounce here or there, you can change a game just like that. But the other thing, too, is I kind of mentioned it a little bit before the show about how, the yak opportunities for the Niners, even without Deebo Samuel, they have some guys that can make plays happen. They're averaging 6.5 yards after the catch. And the Seattle defense, they lack interior help. The linebacking core has been up and down. It's just one of those things where I don't know if I'm going to bet either side, but it's one of those ones where I'd watch it kind of leaning a lot towards the Niners. And if I'm wrong, just kind of being one of those ones where it's, wow, congrats to the Seahawks, because I just can't find a way to necessarily back them with real American dollars and currency.
Yeah.
And I think the thing scaring me off a little bit of the 49ers is the fact that this is kind of it for Seattle. And not only you get a rookie quarterback on the road making his first start, that's a loud place. And man, they need this game because they're 7-6. And this is a team we all are pencil them in. They're going to be a playoff team after their great start. And now if you lose tonight, you're 7-7. Well, who do we play next week? Oh, we just go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, and then you play the Jets after that. So this could get ugly for the Seahawks. There's a real opportunity for them to miss the playoffs.
Maybe the Seahawks are who we thought they were.
Yeah, not impossible.
They were just overachieving for a little while there.
I mentioned this in my channel too. Speaking of awards, if you think San Fran wins tonight, Gino is minus 600 at DraftKings for comeback player of the year. McCaffrey has creeped up to second place at plus 750. Would you make a bet on McCaffrey, figuring, hey, if Gino plays poorly and they miss the playoffs, maybe there's not as much sentiment for Gino. Maybe McCaffrey at plus 750 can steal this award. Matt, you got a good feel for these. Is there an angle there, or is this Gino's award no matter what?
Man, I've been saying Gino for so long. I could see, if they go on and lose 6 of their last 7 games and miss the playoffs, like we're kind of thinking might happen, he might fumble the bag. The odds would imply that, this would be Mac Jones getting caught for rookie of the year by Jamar Chase levels of having the market catch you. But
especially by McCaffrey, who wasn't in the mix. It was Barkley was the favorite, then Geno and him were co-favorites, Geno and Barkley. Then Geno just stormed past them, and now McCaffrey creeps in a second. I don't know. It's just a thought.
I mean, halfway through the year, everybody's like, "Oh, this is Barkley's award, guaranteed."
Right.
Nobody's taking.
I believe and that's why I think it's so funny when people update, like they'll post or update. This is like a shot at anybody, but they'll like update the odds and be like, "Oh, look how far we've come! Like lock it in." And I'm just like, when it comes to season awards, you could be minus. You could be. I mean, Joel Embiid last year was once minus 450 for MVP, and it's just one of those things where, like you said, the market can catch up. When you're,
it's wild. There's two defensive guys that I think have potential too that nobody's talking about. Brandon Graham from the Eagles, who's got like 8.5 sacks.
Love that dude.
Yeah, he was like 200 to 1 or 250 to 1 to start the year. He's creeping up, like you mentioned. I don't know if he can give all these awards to the Eagles, but like he's kind of the heart and soul of that defense. And he came off a season-ending injury, and he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Zaw Smith in Minnesota, I think he's got like 8.5 sacks, something like that too, for a team that's going to be in first place team, might be the 1 seed. He was another guy that came off a season-ending injury, and so McCaffrey maybe, but like, what are his stats going to look like compared to Saquon's towards the? Is he going to have a better statistical season? I don't have their numbers in front of me, but and then for the running back wise, like gosh, there's so many guys ahead of him, like with Chubb and Henry and all these guys. Statistically, Dalvin Cook, like I still think I would say gun to head, Geno's going to win. But yeah, it's open. I think McCaffrey said 7.5 to 1.
Yeah, plus 750 on DraftKings, which is a good price because you look at FanDuel was like plus 500. So that's just one. If you don't want to bet the game tonight, maybe you throw a few bucks. I'm just throwing it out there, and if you guys think it's stupid, then just say you think it's stupid.
No, I'll say this to close it up. Well, as I saw you wrote that in your channel, but Geno didn't write back, so it's one of those things where that's my okay. I'm gonna sign out now. I'm gonna end on that.
That was good. Brad must be writing your material because you're not funny enough to come up with that. Brad,
Brad texted me. I
texted him. I was like, "Here you go."
Yeah, he threw me a bone a little bit. I want to shoot this over to Brad because the only play I have in this game is I took Kyle Juszczyk's over 7.5 receiving yards. And this is one of those weird props that I found when I was going through the props of this game. And I just absolutely love it against the Seattle defense that allows the third most of receiving yards to pass catchers out of the backfield, like running backs. Even though he's listed as a fullback, he's seen 2 or more targets the last 3 weeks. And you got to assume a team that's so bad in their linebacking core to stop the passing game out of the backfield, they're going to key in on McCaffrey. And I think this is one misdirection play where he leaks out of the double running back set they run, and you just need 8 yards. I think it's one of those things where he averages 10 yards a catch in his last 5 years. He's on a little bit of a down slur, like a down spiral, like the last few games, but he's still seeing 2 or 3 targets a game. And for a guy that's seeing 2 or 3 targets a game against this defense, if I need 8 yards, I will take it 10 out of 10 times.
So can I ask you something to jump in on it? Because I liked your look. I saw on your channel that you liked his touchdown and his potential a sprinkle on his first touchdown. I think that's good insulation. I think it's good insulation too, because if watch him catch like a 7-yard touchdown and like you move
and then you punch the wall,
but you catch the touchdown and he went. That's his his one catch he gets, but it's a 7-yard touchdown. Like because he comes in at the on those goal line situations. I could see that happening for sure. I think it's a good little look for all the reasons you mentioned. I think it's a good play.
It's one of those ones where if he just gets no touches, I'll feel like an idiot, but I'll live with it. But I just, like I said, for a guy seeing 2 or 3 targets a game with Purdy, I love the idea that at any point he saw 65% of the snaps last week. He just plays so many snaps and they run so many of those 2 back sets where 7.5 just feels like a great line. He's actually closed at 10.5 or more in 6 of his last 9 games. So just feels like a great spot for him.
I actually don't mind that at all. Like, and especially you think no Debo in this situation. This is one of those, like, I feel like you put good thought process into it because when they run those 2 back sets and they bring Debo from the right and they motion him in and they throw him that little short screen pass, that's not there. They're not running that with Ayuk. They're not running that with Jennings. So instead, the Seahawks are going to think they're going to sell out for the run. Then you have Juszczyk wide open for a catch. I think the logic there is really good.
Yeah, and before this weird down spiral he had, I mean, he had 5 straight weeks with at least a 10-yard catch in each of them. So, in this matchup, I just feel like, I mean, first off, this is like outside of the capping world, but what a fun prop to root for, because at any point you just need that little shovel and you'll be on your way. But yeah, this is just one that it's a really obscure prop, but I just think the number's a little too low. And if you believe in the FanDuel Wizard tinfoil hat, FanDuel opened him at 9.5, which is 27% difference than the 7.5, which is a lot in these low volume lines. Yeah. So I think they're kind of valuing this spot a little bit more than some other books.
What about a couple more, just in terms of props that I had my eye on? What about Kittle for that same thought process? Seattle's bad against these tight ends. Kittle, it's been bet up to 45.5. So I think somebody.
Wow, is it?
Yeah,
it was 37.5 last night.
I think an influencer, somebody that's pretty prominent, gave it out. So I think that's why. So you're seeing that 45.5, which I could understand. And I would think, man, Purdy's passing yards under 218.5. I just think it's going to be a conservative game plan. They're just going to run. He's injured. So, hey, you could have remember it was 2 on Thursday Night Football where he was banged up coming into the game and he gets concussed. And it's like, hey, all the unders cash. It's anytime a guy's dealing with an injury, who knows how healthy he is. So I would look for Purdy under. I don't know. What do you guys think about that or anything else you want to add in terms of props before we look?
Last time I was on the show, we had the Anthony Davis illness. Yes. That was my under the cash. So like I said, you don't root for unders, but anything can happen. I'll leave it to other guys. But yeah, that's one where, especially if you lean Niners, once Juszczyk has his typical 150 pass receiving yards, is there enough to go around for the other 56? I don't know if there is.
Bull might catch a couple passes.
Yeah, he might dunk it through the. You missed the whole Bull debate. We're taking him for MVP
if he traveled. Yeah, travel. Wait, Bull is moving up to what was the line? 6th man of the year or something? I saw
that's what we were talking about. 36 to 1.
36 to 1. Yeah. All right. So last night I took the Magic to win the Southeast.
Or Magic top.
Dude, you missed out. You missed out on all this, man.
I'm a season ticket holder. So
what number did you get? I bet it today too.
100 and. Hold on, I just opened it.
We did a whole 10 minutes on it.
We did a whole
9.5 minutes.
I love how Thursday Night Football relates back to the Magic. We're just big Magic. Nick Larson's weirdly a Kings fan now.
Yeah,
we're all Magic fans.
I drove to the sports book.
45. I'm opening it right now.
I drove to the sports book, the Bet Rivers. It was 200 to 1. I get there, it was 150 to 1. So I was limited to like 20 something bucks, but I took a shot at it just because the other teams are bad.
Yeah. They're played so bad in the Magic. And it's like the Magic have this weird thing where like people think we're just going to lose every game. And I think that's how teams play us. They're like, oh, we're playing the Magic. Like it's going to be so easy. And like, then we put up 50 points in the first quarter.
You got the night off in Florida before, you're feeling good.
I got 150 to 1. And they all going downtown. So one of my favorite spots downtown is a little ramen spot, a little chill spot. All the NBA players go there, get their ramen and their sake. You literally see them all the time. So that sake, that hits you a little hard, boy. You wake up for the game, feel a little fuzzy. That's why.
You got to befriend the staff. Maybe we can put a little something in that sake to make them a little sloppy the next night. Yeah.
Michael's, we need the Magic need the Michael special stuff from Space Jam. So you got to pay them to do different things for different people.
For sure. Do you guys want to touch first touchdown score? McCaffrey plus 430, Walker 7 to 1, Ayuk plus 850, Tyler Lockett 10 to 1, Metcalf 10 to 1, Kittle 11 to 1. That's interesting. Then you go, Price Davis 15 to 1, Jordan Mason 19 to 1, Noah Fant 23 to 1. Matt, you're usually really good with these. Anything catch your eye? First touchdown, which I think we've talked about how they shrink these markets.
Yeah, I've got I just used some free bets tonight, so I got a little crazy. I had a deposit match on one of these books. I tailed Brian on Juice, and then I like Ray McLeod. I think he's going to be a sneaky little play. He returns kicks for the Niners. You could cash it that way. I think he'll come onto the field. He even played last week when Debo was on the field, but with Debo off the field, he can do a lot of those similar things, a lot of those motion sets, jet sweeps, things like that. I think he's in contention. I found him at 25 to 1 on FanDuel. So I've got in pocket with the 40 to 1. Is that the number we got, Brian?
Yep, 40 to 1. Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah. So 40 on the juice. Yeah, 40 on the juice and 25 to 1 on Ray.
Wow. Listen, the price discrepancy I'm seeing on Rayway just like as anytime score, I'm seeing one plus 420 and one plus 650. I actually did take a little parlay, the DK parlay. I took his yards last game, and I'm so pissed I didn't take touchdowns. So this time I took his yards and touchdown, but I did down to 60. It's for plus 220. So him to score a touchdown and get 60 yards. They're at home, good situation here. They're probably playing from behind.
Brian, anything for you?
I mean, I have Kyle Juszczyk 40-1 for first touchdown, but I will say, you talk about pricing discrepancies right now. He actually shifted a little bit. Kyle Juszczyk is plus 1,100 for anytime touchdown scorer. MGM and Caesars, he's plus 500. So you talk about a little bit of discrepancy there.
Yep.
And if
always
you
shop around,
what I will say is that I put it in my channel a little bit, but for plus, so I took him at plus 1,000. And I've always said this before, but plus 1,000 is a 9.09% implied probability. And for a guy with 2 touchdowns over 12 games, I mean, it's a little bit more than that 9% that they're implying at that price. And his only rushing touchdown this year did come against the Seahawks. So I just think it's like the value's there. If you have a free bet, I mean, you put a free $10 bet on that. If your unit's $100, you're up 1.1 units there.
Yeah.
So I think there is some value in Juszczyk just based off the odds.
that math checks out.
Yeah, I have a calculator next to me, so we're good.
Looking at Seattle defense, 37-1. You figure first road start for a rookie quarterback, maybe strip sack, tip ball, any sort of mistake. I know they'll probably be conservative, but I don't know. Seattle defense, Juszczyk is interesting. Seattle D is interesting. Didn't Purdy score one himself last week?
I was in a daze during that game, crying.
I was watching like
I don't think he did.
One of the weeks, maybe it was the Miami game. I'm pretty sure he ran.
I watched that game pretty
made
happy.
a mental note of it.
That was a fun game to watch for me. I was at the Eagles Giants game. Sunday was my birthday. I was drunk out of my mind tailgating the Eagles game, and then I got to go
last week.
home.
He did score a touchdown.
Oh, it was that game.
It was last week.
They scored 68 touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if they did sneak one in there.
I do got an under that I want to throw out to you guys, and I know I might get yelled at for this, but. So what do you guys think? And I'm trying to shop the price for it too, but Kenneth Walker rushing yards. It's at, I see 47.5 on FanDuel, and I'm looking to see if there's any. It looks like 49.5 is available on like 365 and MGM. So DraftKings has got 50.5. I couldn't find it on there at first. So
okay. Do they have 50.5? Is 50, kind of a nice little. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that's 3 yards. But here's Kenneth Walker's. Now, yes, we know he got hurt against the Rams, but he had 3 carries for 36 yards. Against the Raiders, he had 14 carries for 26 yards. Against the Bucks, he had 10 carries for 17 yards. He killed the Cardinals, but against the Giants, 18 carries, 51 yards. So, we've got one game where he went for 109 in his last 5. The rest, I mean, this average is crazy low against a great defense like the 49ers. I would say the best defense.
Plus, he's banged up.
Banged up helps a lot.
What do you think?
He's banged up.
Man, I like it.
Are we convinced he's good? I've seen him look like a prime time MVP running back. And then that one game, I saw him run 14 yards backwards for no reason and just making stupid decisions. Like, not just that highlight, like that play is a highlight, but I've seen some times where he is just missing the open hole and just like not playing smart, tough, actual football. I know it's his rookie year, but I've seen the highs and lows watching him play this year, and I can't decide. I mean, time will tell, but there was a 3-week span where he became like the rookie of the year favorite, and everyone was like, this guy is the next coming of like whatever, insert your favorite running back. He was the guy. And then 3 weeks after that, everyone's like, is he even good? Like, I don't even know. He really fell off as a fantasy owner.
I know who thinks he's good is Mel Tucker, because he made Mel Tucker the Michigan State coach about $95 million.
Yeah, he did. He made Mel Tucker the most overpaid coach in college football.
My goodness. There's no doubt about that.
I'm locking this in.
I'm gonna ride with you.
Yeah, his sample size against the Niners is tough. God damn it. I can still get down some money. The dreaded limit screen popped up on me, but they're still letting me get down an okay amount.
16 cents. Yeah, I just took it 16 cents.
My same game parlay of Bosa, sack, and Geno INT. I was allowed to get $7 down on DraftKings.
Nice.
And to
Wow.
close off this, I will say I'm looking actually at Pickett wearing the shirt, shopping the lines.
Mhm.
Can be books like they have 47.5, and I think in this space I see people don't have those books like the can be books, but I mean they're pretty widely available. They're pretty sharp. I mean they're over a lot of different countries. I know like
Yeah.
US they're a little bit less popular, but I do consider them a sharper book. And if they're at 47.5, that kind of is a nice boost to your original thinking of an under if you can get a higher line than that.
Plus
50.5.
primetime games, people want to bet the marquee players over. Nobody wants to sit here like us, root for the unders. Very few people want to do that. So another good point for the under. Anything else, Matt?
Yeah, just his sample size, like he didn't get a bunch of work. They played the Niners in week 1. He wasn't the starter, but he did get 4 carries and only averaged 2.5 yards. And their line
pretty
was
good.
Yeah, their line was healthier back then too than it is now. Now you could say the Niners were healthier. Defense was healthier back then too. But yeah, I think and that the Niners won 27-7 in that game.
Yeah, it was week 2, and Seattle's only score, I think, was a blocked punt for a touchdown. That was the game Lance got hurt.
Just how they drew it up.
Just how they drew it up. So yeah, I made that, that's on the fly kind of official here. But yeah, I took the under 50.5 minus 115. I think it's a good look.
All right. I think we pretty much covered it. We'll recap all our bets in our channels. I will definitely tail you on the under for Walker. I'll probably add Purdy under 2. Maybe do a little something with Kittle. Maybe do a little something with Juice Check. But guys, this was fun. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Props.Cash, Pickett Sports, Brian Moran, Matt McAfee, Brad Thomas. Eli, you want to let us know when the rest of the shows are this week?
Yeah, sure. We have.
Eli fell asleep. Fell asleep. It's all right.
I
fell asleep too.
I was only muted in Zoom. Okay, they could hear.
No,
me.
it's all right. I took a nap halfway through. Whenever Brad joined, like the first 5 minutes, I took a nap.
Yeah, he's okay. Brad's just gonna ramble for a little bit.
Anyway, we got Box to Box tomorrow, 11 a.m. With soccer stuff with Matkafee and Brooks. We have On the Dot tomorrow at 7 p.m. A new day with the holidays. Which is daily fantasy focus with some NFL props as well. And then we have a UFC fight night preview Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with me and Richie One Up. And then I think we're just we'll look check the Twitter for the First and Gold stream this weekend because I don't think we know what it is yet.
All right, I think we covered it. Props.Cash, Pickett Sports, Go Boys. Appreciate everyone. Good luck with all your plays. We'll see you next time.